what's up gamers? It's Steph from Settler of the Boards, and we've made it to the final video of the top 100, the top 10. So, without further ado, let's get started at number 10 with Monikers. I love this game so much. It's so silly and so funny. It's just 3 rounds. You play in teams, and you have to get your teammate to guess the word that's on your card without saying the word. And the first round you can say as much as you want, as long as you don't say that word. Second round you can only say 1-word clues, and the third round you can only do charades and sounds and things like that. It's been tons of fun every time I've played it. You have to, of course, play it with like the right group who's willing to be really silly about it. But there's so many fun things that happen during it. A lot of things that become like inside jokes during the game. It's so funny and so much fun. And even this year, as though like I didn't get to play as much in person because, of course, like I haven't been in big groups, but I have been able to play it online. There's like an app or a website that you can use that the name is completely escaping me right now, but you can play it on there. I think it's called Alias, actually. You can play it on there as well, and it works kind of virtually over webcam, of course. I would always prefer to play it in person, but it's not always doable, but it is a ton of fun and silliness every time. Number 9, we have Automobiles, which is a bag building game where you are collecting different kinds of things into your bag that will help you get around the track faster. You can play it over as many rounds as you want, which are just the laps basically, and you really just are trying to race as fast as you can. Certain things will slow you down or give you wear, so you do want to try and get like right behind people, and that won't give you wear on your vehicle, or if you have certain abilities, depending on what comes out. There is a lot of variability. You know, the red cubes aren't always the same thing. There's different cards that might come out for each different game. So that's really nice in the variability. And then it is just really thematic about that, like, anxiety and, like, that drive of, like, oh, I need to go faster. I need to get around this lap really fast. I need to make sure that I'm in the lead. And it's just a lot of fun. And number 8, I have Argent the Consortium, which is all about wizards, I think, like, or like magic people going to school, and you're just trying to collect different spells and supporters and things like that in order to score points at the end. There's like a whole board of directors kind of thing that you're gonna get points, get their votes based on, you know, if you have a certain if you have the most like of a certain color of supporter, or if you have the most of a certain color of spell, or if you have the most intelligence or the most wisdom or money or mana or anything like that. But this is it's a heavy game, but like it's so streamlined that it just works really, really well no matter who you're playing with. But yeah, there's all different characters who have variable character powers that you start with. All the different mages that you have different abilities as you send them out. Like some will let you use them as a fast action, some will let you cast spells after you use them, things like that. And there's just so much, like it starts off a little bit slowly as you're trying to gather like your different spells and gather this and that and pick your areas on the board, but it really ramps up and you're able to do so much in a turn, or at least feel like you're able to do so much in a turn that there's just so much happening. But that's a really, really good one. At number 7, I have Dead of Winter, which is my favorite game to play like around Halloween time. And my at least one person in my gaming group would probably disagree because I usually vote him off the island because he always seems like he's the traitor. But it is a semi-cooperative game in that you are kind of all working together during the apocalypse to try and make a camp for yourselves and have enough food to survive and enough resources to survive and things like that. But there could be, there's a possibility of having a traitor among you. You can also play it completely cooperatively, where there's no chance at having a traitor, but we always throw the card in there and shuffle them together to see if maybe there might be somebody who could be a traitor in there. But even if there is or isn't a traitor, everybody has their own goal. So even if the team wins, if you didn't complete your goal, you still aren't one of the winners. So I think that that's a really interesting element as well. But you're just trying to seem as not suspect as possible, even if you are trying to sabotage everybody as you collect different resources and hunt zombies out at different locations and things like that. It's very Walking Dead-esque if you're into that kind of theme. It very much puts you into that kind of scenario. So it's a really, really good one. It's very thematic, and it's just a lot of fun to kind of yell at people and say like, oh, I think you're the traitor, so I'm gonna vote to kick you out of our camp. At number 6, I have Istanbul, which is a really interesting, I'm not really sure what I would call the mechanic. but you have just a stack of your workers that you're moving along the board, and you have to either put one down or pick one up when you stop at a location in order to do the action at that location. And you're just trying to collect gems in order, then those are the points in order to win. So you're trying to put different resources into your wheelbarrow and sell them to get more coins, so that you can maybe buy things that'll get you gems, or you're trying to spend the resources at certain locations to just earn gems there. You need more and more as the game goes on in order to get those gems for the points, but there's tons of paths to success in this. I've seen people that, really just go heavy into money, really go heavy into resources, like tons of different things will lead you to success in this one. And it's just a really calm game, I feel like. It's not really aggressive or anything like that. And there's just a lot of different things that go into that. There's somewhere where you can gamble, and there's somewhere where you can just kind of guess what's going to be on the dice in order to get more money and things like that. So it's got a lot of different elements, and it's a really, really good one. At number 5, we have Silver and Gold, which is a flip and write game where you flip out different maps. You have different maps that you're drawing on, and you flip out different symbols that you're going to be drawing on those maps in order to fill in all of the spots on them, and you can gain coins, or you can, if you cross off X marks the spots on your maps, you get just to fill in other boxes as well. And it's not really so much about how many maps that you complete, because they are worth varying amounts of points, but also just how many coins you can get, because that's always points, or how many palm trees you cross off, and because that can be points as well. And you can also combo different maps that you have. If you have ones that have bonuses on them, it might give you a bonus for every gray you complete, but that card is orange, so then you want to complete a bunch of different grays even though you have that one orange one, because it gives you a bonus. So there's a lot of different things like that in there. It plays super quickly. I think I usually play it at 2 or 3 players in 15 to 20 minutes, and it's just really accessible and a lot of fun. At number 4, I have Cartographers, which is another flip and write game where you're making a map as you're exploring, and you are the cartographer, so you're kind of finding different areas, whether it's homesteads or water or forests, and you're trying to also avoid monsters. So if you have monsters, you want to make sure that you fill in all the areas around them, effectively blocking them off, and that way you won't lose points. I think it's really unique in that when monsters do come out, you have to pass your board to other players, because they have to put the monsters somewhere, because of course if you are if you're just able to put them in yourself, you're going to put them in the least consequential place ever. So I think it's neat that you have to give it to other players to kind of hurt your map a little bit. But it's also just really neat in that the goals are different every time, and you just have a lot of variability in that. And then you also want to make sure that you're balancing getting the goals finished, because they score at different times, so you don't want to focus too much on one that's only going to score once when there's something coming up that's going to score twice that you want to work on a little bit more. I also got the chance to review the Cartographers Heroes this year, which is a expand-alone that's coming out, and that adds in a new type of card, which is the Heroes, as well as some different monsters that have abilities, which are really, really cool. I really enjoy that. This is also one of the games that I, not super frequently, but I will go back to playing solo time and time again. I don't play a lot of solo games, but this one's really solid. It doesn't take a lot of work to set up, and it's just a lot of fun to try and just maximize your own map, and then you don't have to worry about other people as much. In solo, you have to put the monsters out according to a little diagram on the card, so there's still not that ease of I can put it anywhere I want. That's good for me. You still have to follow a certain rule for that, so that's neat. And I just really like how this game looks if you get some colored pencils or markers or anything to draw on the cards with, and it's a really, really aesthetically pleasing game too. Almost there. At number 3, we have Sagrada, which I mentioned in a previous video when I mentioned Role Player. This is a very similar game. I played this one first, I think, and I do prefer it, as you can see. I think that it's really, really pretty. All of the dice are translucent to emanate that stained glass kind of idea and visual, and it's really pretty like that. And then you're also just trying to puzzle the dice into your little player board, so you have certain spots that can only be filled in by a certain color or by a certain number, and you can't put the same number or color next to each other. unless you use tools to kind of break the rules at times. But it's very, very puzzly in that regard, and I really like that. It's very thinky, but without being too difficult or frustrating. And then, yeah, you just want to make sure that you're not messing any of that up, because if you catch that you've messed up and put like 2 yellows next to each other or something, then you're going to lose that, and every blank spot is negative points at the end. So you definitely don't want to have empty spots in your board. But it's a really aesthetically pleasing game. It's a lot of fun, and it's a little bit different every time because you're going to have a different player board every time. Number 2, I have Legendary. I just pulled out one of the expansion boxes that I happen to still have because I have Legendary in a bunch of gigantic heavy cases because I have so much of it. I love Legendary, particularly I should say the Marvel deck building game. I also have the Buffy one, which is good, but I always go back to the Marvel one a lot more. And I haven't played some of the other ones that exist out there, but I love Legendary. It is a deck building game where it is cooperative or semi-cooperative. I always play semi-cooperative where there's just one like best hero who scores the most points is the winner. You can also play completely cooperatively where as long as you defeat the mastermind, you guys all win together. But you're all the different Marvel heroes, like there's so many cards. There's Hulk and there's Spider-Man and there's all the Inhumans, and tons of characters for that game exist, as well as different iterations of the same characters as well. But you can mix and match teams however you want, which is really, really cool. And you're just trying to defeat villains and henchmen and ultimately a mastermind every game, who's obviously like the strongest and everything like that. And it's just a lot of fun. It can be really difficult, especially depending on like if your combination of characters works well together, depending on like what the abilities of villains and stuff like that are. But it's a lot of fun. It's really neat to just kind of put all of those Marvel characters together into one deck and see like, all right, would this team work? Okay, maybe not. And then finally, at the very end of the list, number 1, we have Natsu, which is another flip and right game, / roll and write game. It's kind of a do and write because you have both aspects of it in there. This has been like a big hit with everybody that I've shown it to. It's really, really neat. It's all about you're a kid on summer vacation, and you're just trying to plan out your calendar week to week. So you're trying to find as many things that you can do with friends so that you're like not wasting away your summer vacation. You want to go to sleepovers, and you want to go to the beach, and you want to go on a vacation or something like that. And then you also have to find time though to do homework and study groups because you have a lot of summer homework, and you have to make sure that it all gets done, or else you're going to lose a lot of points at the end of the game. I've definitely seen people kind of neglect homework because they're like, it's not that big a deal, and then at the end they lose 30 points and they regret it immensely, just like real life. So there's a ton of balance in like, okay, should I fill out my schedule? Should I choose to go on this activity today, or should I maybe forgo it so that I have an extra day for homework stuff later? You can always choose to go on different activities. It's secret. You just kind of thumbs up or thumbs down when somebody announces like, oh, it's going to be on Tuesday, and then you earn varying points based on if all boys or girls go, or if a even or odd number of players go, things like that. And then you also can earn titles oftentimes when you're the only player who goes to an activity, or just if certain other things happen, you can earn titles based on the activities that you're doing. And those are exponential more points because it's number of titles times number of titles. So if I have 5, it'll be 5 times 5 for 25 points. And that's can be a huge swing at the end of the game if you have a ton of titles. But it's just got a lot of different things going on. You roll dice, you flip cards, and you're just kind of, again, filling in your calendar as well as filling in your friendships with other players, characters, which is in a private board. So there's like a private and a public player board for each player. There's so much going on, but at the same time, it's really streamlined and it just works really, really well. I've had a lot of really big success with introducing it to people, and it's just been a ton of fun. And that's why it's my number 1 game. So if you didn't catch all of the things on the list, make sure you check out the full list over on the blog, and maybe look back at some of the other videos if you want to learn a little bit more of any of the games that I mentioned. But happy holidays, happy new year to everybody who stuck around and checked out all these videos on the top 100. Let me know what your top 100 or top 50 or top 10 is. Definitely just want to talk about games. But yeah, thanks guys.